Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Let's Play Morrowind. Last time when we left off, we had finished joining the Morag Tong and doing the couple of quests on their behalf that we were ready and able to do. We now find ourselves in the Arena Underworks. There's another one. Over here there is a dead body. He's got some surprisingly good stuff. Especially the Grand Soul Gem, I'd say, if you haven't already found one. Alrighty. Apart from that, we'll do what we've been doing and go clockwise. Leave that corner where we can see somebody standing for last. Let's head up through here. Nothing in this corner. No critters either, which is surprising. Check this tunnel. Nothing here but a slaughterfish. Same deal with this corner. That figure we could see in the southeast looks to me like it's just another dreamer. Yep. We won't mess with that. And with that, we're done with the arena canton. Now I think we're ready to head even further east. One more installment, so to speak, will take us to the Telvanni canton. I'd like to start on ground level, though, because there's a couple of people to chat with. We've got Aaron Anderin. This is the sacred city of Vivec. Count your blessings. Can I help you find someone in particular, or are you just looking around? Background. I am Aaron Anderin, commoner and hireling of the great House Telvanni. House Telvanni, we live comfortably. Our wizard lords keep us secure and otherwise leave us alone. All we want is to be left in peace to do as we wish. Latest rumors. There's been a pretty bad rat problem in the Telvanni section of Vivec. Audenian Valius the Enchanter has gotten the worst of it, apparently. Your journal has been updated. That's interesting. Little advice, little secret, Ministry of Truth, Morrowind lore. Ashlanders live with their herds in camps in the wilderness. They are primitive people, but proud, and I fear they can never become civilized. I trade, necromancy. Someone in particular All the important Telvanni retainers and mercenaries live here in the Telvanni compound. Mavon Drenim, the ranking Telvanni lord here in Vivec, lives in the tower. Rest we've seen before. Specific place, you're in Telvanni compound now. That's it for him. Let's check our journal. I have heard rumors in Vivec of a merchant with a rat infestation problem. Apparently, Audenian Valius, a Telvanni enchanter, has been overrun by rats in recent weeks. Let's see if that actually got us a quest. The enchanter's rats. It did. Cool. I guess we'll be dealing with that. But before we do, let's chat with the gondolier, Fendrin Delvey. I'm Fendrin Delvey, the gondolier. What is your destination? I can also help with local information. Do you need services? Are you looking for some specific place, or for someone in particular? Let's just rip through everything. Background. I am Fendrin Delvey, gondolier. Destination. I can carry you by gondola to the arena in the center of Vivec, or to Hlalu compound to the west, or to Telvanni compound to the east. Alright, very good. That, I think, is everybody outside, so we're ready to head into the plaza now. Right, to Telvanni Plaza we go. Do note, before we head upstairs, however, that as advertised, and indeed as we've seen, you can leave Vivec to the east by road as well. And we've explored around there to a pretty substantial extent already. Let's get up top. We'll head in through the north door and explore the plaza, and then its adjoining cells in a clockwise fashion, like we typically do. So we start here. This is more like what we've seen before. A mark ring. It's a mark and recall right there, if you need them. Check the urns. We've got the Hlaren residence. And here we've got Tendren Hlurbu, who we'll speak with first. I don't believe I've seen a high elf with such a grand outfit in some time. Can I help you? Background. I am Tendren Hlurbu, noble. Current events. The great houses are always fighting each other in the Great House Wars. Rarely do the conflicts break out into open war. Instead, the battles go on quietly behind the scenes. Doesn't look like he has too much to say. Doesn't look like these planters have anything I need to worry about in them either. That's good. We do have
Is there something I can do for you,
Deldasa Thyrandus to speak with. I don't believe I've seen a high elf with such a grand outfit in some time. Can I help you? Background. I am Deldasa Thyrandus, commoner. That appears to be it for her. We have a couple of urns. We have the Telvanni upper storage. And here's Avoni Dren. Who we can also speak with. Civi, Travis, I'm Avoni Dren. Don't worry, Vivek can be confusing for us, and we live here. Is there some specific place you want, or someone in particular you're trying to find? Background, I am Avoni Dren, noble and hireling of the great House Telvanni. Current events, we've seen that before. House Telvanni, we don't care about politics, we don't care what others think, we just want to be left alone, and our wizard lords and their mercenaries make sure no one bothers us. Little secret, Sadrith Mora is the best town to shop for spells. Very interesting. My trade. I am a noble of great House Telvanni. I rule my lands and kinsmen by superior right of wit, will, wealth, and wisdom. In the ancient arcane traditions of House Telvanni, I am a wizard, skilled in all the crafts of war and rulership. By my own craft and dominion I bring prosperity and power to my tower, honor to my house, and security to my kinsmen and retainers. So long as none dare challenge my sorceress mastery, I thereby ensure the health, wealth, and security of my house and its people. Interesting.
Speak quickly, Outlander, or go away.
Temporary Telvanni housing. Interesting. Check out these urns. Made our way to the south gate. We'll check all of these. Little gold. Little more gold. Alright. And that leaves us to head in here. That's an ordinator. Up here behind this tower are a bunch of, got arrows and gold inside those crates. That's handy to have. Excuse me. Some urns. And if we continue this way, we run into Landa, who we'll go ahead and chat with. This is the sacred city of Vivek. Count your blessings. Can I help you find someone in particular, or are you just looking around? Abolitionists. These outlanders won't be happy until slavery is outlawed. It's our right to have slaves by law and custom, and it's none of their damn business. Background. I am Landa, warrior and retainer of the great House Telvanni. So she doesn't really have anything new to add. But we can search these urns. I do want the comberry at least. And that leaves us with the Telvanni Tower. Well, shoot. Let's head in there first. See what we get. Can turn right or left. I say we go left first. Surwed. Welcome to Vivek, Travis. I'm Surwed. Are you looking for services in the sacred city? Maybe I can help. Aldsotha. Though exotic and picturesque, Aldsotha is a dangerous site, haunted by old magics, dark cultists, and their Daedric summonings, and not recommended for sightseers. Background. I am Surwed, scout and retainer of the great House Telvanni. Mm-hmm. That appears to be about it for her. we proceed further left, there's Surges Adrard. I don't believe I've seen a high elf with such a grand outfit in some time. Can I help you? Background, I am Surges Adrard, archer and retainer of the great House Telvanni. Morrowind lore. House Dunmer are the common dark elves of Morrowind. They live everywhere on Vardenfell, in towns, villages, manors, and farms. Alright. Let's check the rest of this outer ring. And we find Seal Nestal. Welcome to Vivek, Travis. I'm sure you have some questions. What would you like to know? Background. I'm Seal Nestal, spell sword and retainer of the great House Telvanni. Morrowind lore. The blight is weather caused by the big volcano, Red Mountain. And that's it for him. And that leaves us a choice. We can head into the inner ring and upstairs. I say we go downstairs first to the Telvanni Vault. Well, nah. Telvanni Vault and Telvanni prison cells. So we'll head into the center ring first and talk to Tolmera Relanim. I don't believe I've seen a high elf with such a grand outfit in some time. Can I help you? Background. I am Tolmera Relanim, enchanter and retainer of the great house Lalu. That's interesting. That must just be a mistake. Miscoded. Nothing really with her. Here's Farah Riskel. We'll talk to him too. Civi, Travis. I'm Farah Riskel. Don't worry, Vivek can be confusing for us, and we live here. Is there some specific place you want, or someone in particular you're trying to find? Background, I am Fararili Riskel, Nightblade and retainer of the great House Telvanni. Morrowind lore. The first Dunmer nation, Resdain, was ruled by the First Council and the Tribunal Temple. The name changed to Morrowind when it became an imperial province. Okay, that seems to be it for him. And over here we've got Silius Fulcinius. I like his helmet, at least. Welcome to Vivec, Travis. I'm Silius Fulcinius. Are you looking for services in the Sacred City? Maybe I can help. Background. I am Silius Fulcinius, agent and retainer of the great House Telvanni. Alright, that's enough of that. Alright, that seems to be everybody on this level. Let's look around then. Nothing on these tables. Let's check out this bookshelf. We've got the Affairs of Wizards, Grasping Fortune, the Anticipations, and Ancestors in the Dunmer. We've read all that. Read the Book of Daedra, but Azura and the Box, I'm pretty sure, is a new book. So we'll read it and take it off the list. What I don't know is if it's a skill book or not. It is! Your sneak skill increased to 100. Azura and the Box, Ancient Tales of the Dwemer, Part 11 by Marabar Sul. Chilbar had enjoyed an adventurous youth, but had grown to be a very wise, very old Dwemer who spent his life searching for the truth and dispelling superstitions. He invented much and created many theorems and logic structures that bore his name. But much of the world still puzzled him, and nothing was a greater enigma to him than the nature of the Aedra and Daedra. Over the course of his research, he came to the conclusion that many of the gods were entirely fabricated by man and Mer. Nothing, however, was a greater question to Nchilbar than the limits of divine power. Were the greater beings the masters of the entire world, or did the humbler creatures have the strength to forge their own destinies? As Nchilbar found himself nearing the end of his life, he felt he must understand this last basic truth. Among the sage's acquaintances was a holy Chimer priest named Athenic. When the priest was visiting Bathalag's Turams, Nchilbar told him what he intended to do to find the nature of divine power. Athenic was terrified and pleaded with his friend not to break this great mystery, but Nchilbar was resolute. Finally, the priest agreed to assist out of love for his friend, though he feared the results of this blasphemy. Athenic summoned Azura. After the usual rituals by which the priest declared his faith in her powers, and Azura agreed to do no harm to him, Nchilbar and a dozen of his students entered the summoning chamber, carrying with them a large box. As we see you in our land, Azura, you are the goddess of the dusk and dawn and all the mysteries therein, said Nchilbar, trying to appear as kindly and obsequious as he could be. It is said that your knowledge is absolute. So it is, smiled the Daedra. You would know, for example, what is in this wooden box, said Nchilbar. Azura turned to Athenec, her brow furrowed. The priest was quick to explain. Goddess, this Dwemer is a very wise and respected man. Believe me, please, the intention is not to mock your greatness, but to demonstrate it to this scientist and to the rest of his skeptical race. I have tried to explain your power to him, but his philosophy is such that he must see it demonstrated. If I am to demonstrate my might in a way to bring the Dwemer race to understanding, it might have been a more impressive feat you would have me do, growled Azura, and turned to look Chilbar in the eyes. There is a red-petaled flower in the box. And Chilbar did not smile or frown. He simply opened the box and revealed to all that it was empty. When the students turned to look to Azura, she was gone. Only Athenec had seen the goddess's expression before she vanished, and he could not speak, he was trembling so. A curse had fallen, he knew that truly, but even crueler was the knowledge of divine power that had been demonstrated. And Chilbar also looked pale, uncertain on his feet, but his face shone with not fear but bliss, the smile of a Dwemer finding evidence for a truth only suspected. 2 of his students supported him, and 2 more supported the priest as they left the chamber. I have studied very much over the years, performed countless experiments, taught myself 1,000 languages, and yet the skill that has taught me the final truth is the one that I learned when I was but a poor young man, trying only to have enough gold to eat, whispered the sage. As he was escorted up the stairs to his bed, a red flower petal fell from the sleeve of his voluminous robe, and Chilbar died that night, a portrait of peace that comes from contented knowledge. Publisher's note. This is another tale whose origin is unmistakably Dwemer. Again, the words of some Aldmeris translations are quite different, but the essence of the story is the same. The Dunmer have a similar tale about Chilbar, but in the Dunmer version, Azura recognizes the trick and refuses to answer the question. She slays the Dwemer present for their skepticism and curses the Dunmer for blasphemy. In the Aldmeris versions, Azura is tricked not by an empty box, but by a box containing a sphere which somehow becomes a flat square. Of course, the Aldmeris versions, being a few steps closer to the original Dwemer, are much more difficult to understand. Perhaps this stage magic explanation was added by Gore Felim because of Felim's own experience with such tricks in his plays when a mage was not available. Marabar Sul left even the character of Chilbar alone, and he represents many Dwemer virtues. His skepticism, while not nearly as absolute as in the Aldmeris version, is celebrated even though it brings a curse upon the Dwemer and the unnamed house of the poor priest. Whatever the true nature of the gods and how right or wrong the Dwemer were about them, this tale might explain why the dwarves vanished from the face of Tamriel. Though Chilbar and his kind may not have intended to mock the Aedra and Daedra, their skepticism certainly offended the divine orders. Alright, Origin of the Mages Guild. The Dowry, I think, is another new book, and in fact it raises security to 47. Excellent. Alright, well, we'll take the Dowry off the book list, and then we'll read it too. The Dowry, Ancient Tales of the Dwemer, Part 10 by Marabar Sul. Inalé was the wealthiest landowner in Gunal, and he had over the years saved a tremendous dowry for the man who would marry his daughter Genefra. When she reached the age of consent, he locked the gold away for safekeeping and announced his intention to have her marry. She was a comely lass, a scholar, a great athlete, but dour and brooding in aspect. This personality defect did not bother her potential suitors any more than her positive traits impressed them. Every man knew the tremendous wealth that would be his as the husband of Genefra and son-in-law of Inalé. That alone was enough for hundreds to come to Gunal to pay court. The man who will marry my daughter, said Inalé to the assembled, must not be doing so purely out of avarice. He must demonstrate his own wealth to my satisfaction. This simple pronouncement removed a vast majority of the suitors, who knew they could not impress the landowner with their meager fortunes. A few dozen did come forward within a few days, clad in fine Killark cloth of spun silver, accompanied by exotic servants traveling in magnificent carriages. Of all who came who met with Enile's approval, none arrived in a more resplendent fashion than Welyn Nerillic. The young man, who no one had ever heard of, arrived in a shining ebon coach drawn by a team of dragons, his clothing of rarest manufacture, and accompanied by an army of the most fantastical servants any of Gunal had ever seen. Valets with eyes on all sides of their heads, maidservants that seemed cast in gemstones. But such was not enough with Enile. The man who marries my daughter must prove himself an intelligent fellow, for I would not have an ignoramus as a son-in-law and business partner, he declared. This eliminated a large part of the wealthy suitors who, through their lives of luxury, had never needed to think very much, if at all. Still, some came forward over the next few days, demonstrating their wit and learning, quoting the great sages of the past, and offering their philosophies of metaphysics and alchemy. Welyn Nerillic too came, and asked Enile to dine at the villa he had rented outside of Gunal. There the landowner saw scores of scribes working on translations of Aldmeri tracts, and enjoyed the young man's somewhat irreverent but intriguing intelligence. Nonetheless, though he was much impressed with Welyn Nerillic, Enile had another challenge. "I love my daughter very much," said Enile, "and I hope that the man who marries her will make her happy as well. Should any of you make her smile, she and the great dowry are yours." The suitors lined up for days, singing her songs, proclaiming their devotion, describing her beauty in the most poetic of terms. Ginevra merely glared at them all with hatred and melancholia. Enile, who stood by her side, began to despair at last. His daughter's suitors were failing to a man at this task. Finally, Welyn Nerillic came to the chamber. "I will make your daughter smile," he said. "I dare say I'll make her laugh, but only after you've agreed to marry us. If she is not delighted within 1 hour of our engagement, the wedding can be called off." Enile turned to his daughter. She was not smiling, but her eyes had sparked with some morbid curiosity in this young man. As no other suitor had even registered that for her, he agreed. "The dowry is naturally not to be paid till after you've wed," said Enile. "Being engaged is not enough." "Might I see the dowry still?" asked Welyn. Knowing how fabled the treasure was, and understanding that this would likely be the closest the young man would come to possessing it, Enile agreed. He had grown quite fond of Welyn. On his orders, Welyn, Enile, glum Ginevra, and the Castellan delved deep into the stronghold of Gunal. The first vault had to be opened by touching a series of runic symbols. Should one of the marks be mispressed, a volley of poisoned arrows would have struck the thief. Enile was particularly proud of the next level of security. A lock composed of blades with 18 tumblers required 3 keys to be turned simultaneously to allow entry. The blades were designed to eviscerate any who merely picked one of the locks. Finally, they reached the storeroom. It was entirely empty. "By Lorcan, we've been burgled," cried Enile. "But how? Who could have done this?" "A humble, but if I may say so, rather talented burglar," said Welyn. "A man who has loved your daughter from afar for many years, but did not possess the glamour or the learning to impress. That is, until the gold from her dowry afforded me the opportunity." "You?" bellowed Enile, scarcely able to believe it. Then something even more unbelievable happened. Ginevra began to laugh. She had never even dreamed of meeting anyone like this thief. She threw herself into his arms before her father's outraged eyes. After a moment, Enile too began to laugh. Ginevra and Welyn were married in a month's time. Though he was in fact quite poor and had little scholarship, Enile was amazed how much his wealth increased with such a son-in-law and business partner. He only made certain never to ask from whence came the excess gold. Publisher's note: the tale of a man trying to win the hand of a maiden whose father, usually a wealthy man or a king, tests each suitor is quite common. See, for instance, the more recent Four Suitors of Benita by Joel Yolives. The behavior of the characters is quite out of character for the Dwemer. No one today knows their marriage customs, or even if they had marriage at all. One rather odd theory of the disappearance of the dwarves came from this and a few other tales of Marabar Sul. It was proposed that the Dwemer never in fact left. They did not depart Nirn, much less the continent of Tamriel, and they are still among us disguised. These scholars use the story of Azura and the box to suggest that the Dwemer feared Azura, a being they could neither understand nor control, and they adopted the dress and manner of Keimer and Altmer in order to hide from Azura's gaze. Spirit of the Daedra, I'm pretty sure we have read. Yes. Next shelf down. Invocation of Azura, and The Importance of Where, I happen to know, is yet another new book, which we'll go ahead and read in just a moment and take off the list. All right, let's read that one. Blunt Weapon to 100. The Importance of Wear, Ancient Tales of the Dwemer, Part 3 by Marabar Sul. The chieftain of Othrabar gathered his wise men together and said, "Every morning a tenfold of my flock are found butchered. What is the cause?" Fangbith the war leader said, "A monster may be coming down from the mountain and devouring your flock." Goric the healer said, "A strange new disease perhaps is to blame." Baron the priest said, "We must sacrifice to the goddess for her to save us." The wise men made sacrifices, and while they waited for their answers from the goddess, Fangbith went to Mentor Joltereg and said, "You taught me well how to forge the cudgel of Zolia and how to wield it in combat, but I must know now when it is wise to use my skill. Do I wait for the goddess to reply, or the medicine to work, or do I hunt the monster which I know is in the mountain?" "When is not important," said Joltereg. "Where is all that is important." So Fangbith took his Zolik cudgel in hand and walked far through the dark forest until he came to the base of the great mountain. There he met two monsters. One bloodied with the flesh of the chieftain of Othrabar's flock fought him, while its mate fled. Fangbith remembered what his master had taught him, that wear was all that was important. He struck the monster on each of its 5 vital points, head, groin, throat, back, and chest. 5 blows to the 5 points, and the monster was slain. It was too heavy to carry with him, but still triumphant, Fangbith returned to Othrabar. "I say I have slain the monster that ate your flock," he cried. "What proof have you that you have slain any monster?" asked the chieftain. "I say I have saved the flock with my medicine," said Goric the healer. "I say the goddess has saved the flock by my sacrifices," said Baron the priest. 2 mornings went by and the flocks were safe, but on the morning of the 3rd day, another tenfold of the chieftain's flock was found butchered. Goric the healer went to his study to find a new medicine. Baron the priest prepared more sacrifices. Fangbith took his Zolik cudgel in hand again and walked far through the dark forest until he came to the base of the great mountain. There he met the other monster, bloodied with the flesh of the chieftain of Othrabar's flock. They did battle, and again Fangbith remembered what his master had taught him, that wear was all that was important. He struck the monster 5 times on the head, and it fled. Chasing it along the mountain, he struck it 5 times in the groin, and it fled. Running through the forest, Fangbith overtook the monster and struck it 5 times in the throat, and it fled. Entering into the fields of Othrabar, Fangbith overtook the monster and struck it 5 times in the back, and it fled. At the foot of the stronghold, the chieftain and his wise men emerged to the sound of the monster wailing. There they beheld the monster that had slain the chieftain's flock. Fangbith struck the monster 5 times in the chest, and it was slain. A great feast was held in Fangbith's honor, and the flock of Othrabar was never again slain. Joltereg embraced his student and said, "You have at last learned the importance of where you strike your blows." Excuse me. Publisher's note. This tale is another which has an obvious origin among the Ashlander tribes of Vardenfell and is one of their oldest tales. Marabar Sul merely changed the names of the characters to sound more dwarven and resold it as part of his collection. The great mountain in the tale is clearly Red Mountain despite its description of being forested. The starfall and later eruptions destroyed the vegetation on Red Mountain, giving it the wasted appearance it has today. This tale does have some scholarly interest, as it suggests a primitive Ashlander culture, but it talks of living in strongholds, much like the ruined strongholds on Vardenfell today. There are even references to a stronghold of Othrabar somewhere between Vardenfell and Skyrim, but few strongholds outside of sparsely settled Vardenfell have survived to the present. Scholars do not agree on who built these strongholds or when, but I believe it is clear from this story and other evidence that the Ashlander tribes used these strongholds in the ancient past, instead of making camps of wickwheat huts as they do today. The play on words that forms the lesson of the fable, that it is as important to know where the monster should be slain at the stronghold as it is to know where the monster must be struck on its body to be slain, is typical of many Ashlander tales. Riddles, even ones as simple as this one, are loved by both the Ashlanders and the vanished Dwemer, although the Dwemer are usually portrayed as presenting the riddles rather than being the ones who solve it as in Ashlander tales. Interesting. Alright, we've read Special Flora of Tamriel. We've read The Vagaries of Magicka. I have no need for any of that, so let's go to the next shelf. Well, let's get between them. Do it this way. Read that. Read those. Read that. We've read that. Read that. We've read that. Read that and that. Next. We've read that and that and those. And that and that. And those. And those and those and those. And those. And that and that. And that. Alright, let's head upstairs then. There are 3 more people to speak with. We'll start with Salora Salabar. This is the sacred city of Vivek. Count your blessings. Can I help you find someone in particular, or are you just looking around? Background. I am Salora Salabar, sorcerer and retainer of the great House Telvanni. My trade, I think this is actually a new one. I am a sorcerer. Through my mastery of special disciplines of the College of Conjuration and my private studies of the outer realms and their powers and principalities, I have learned to summon and command their denizens to do my bidding. I do these things for coin or to suit my own interests. I also am an enchanter, enchanting items for my own use and for the use of others. My skill with enchantments also makes me more efficient in using enchanted items that I collect on my research expeditions. Yeah, we've seen that before too. Alright, let's see who else we've got. Dals Sadri. I'll talk to next. Alright. It's not bad when you know your way around, Travis. What are you looking for in Vivek? Background. I am Dal Sadri, mage and retainer of the great house Hlalu. There's another Hlalu inside the Telvanni Tower. That's very strange indeed. Little advice. If you want to know everything there is to know about being a mage, let me suggest Estirdeline at the Balmora Mages Guild. You want to talk to an expert in the trade, patient and well-spoken, someone who likes to talk about the subjects. You don't want a trainer, not unless you expect to pay for the information, and you don't want someone too busy or important to talk to you. Try Estirdeline. And he gets the gender wrong. He's smart, friendly, and ready to talk. And last, for here, let's talk to Mavon Drennan. Welcome to Vivek, Travis. I'm sure you have some questions. What would you like to know? I am Mavon Drennan, mage and spellwright of the great house Telvanni. House Redoran is one of the three great houses on Vardenfell. The Redorans talk and talk and talk about duty and honor and piety and their proper role in life. We Telvanni have a more pragmatic approach. House Telvanni. House Telvanni is one of the great houses. We value talent, knowledge, and initiative. Perhaps you would like to join House Telvanni. Oh, good. Join House Telvanni. Go to Sadrith Mora and speak with the mouths in the Telvanni Council Hall. Killing and murder. According to Telvanni custom, killing is justifiable on any practical grounds. In particular, justifiable if you can get away with it and it serves your purposes. Killing is neither sinful nor dishonorable. Telvanni abide by imperial law only so far as it is enforced. No imperial guards or legion garrisons are found in most Telvanni settlements. Nerevar. When the Dunmer followed Veloth to Morrowind, they were many warring clans with no law or leader in common. Excuse me. One Dunmer warlord, Nerevar, had the ambition to rule all the Dunmer. In that time, House Dwemer were great enchanters, so Nerevar went in secret to a Dwemer smith and asked for an enchanted ring that would help him. The ring gave its wearer great powers of persuasion. For safety, it was enchanted to instantly kill anyone who wore it except Nerevar. The ring was called Moon and Star, and it helped Nerevar unite the various clans into the First Council. Later, however, disputes over religion divided the council, with House Dwemer and House Dagoth on one side and all the other houses on the other. Dumak and Dagoth invited Orc and Nord clans as allies and held northwest Morrowind, while Nerevar mustered the other houses and nomad tribes and marched to meet the Dwemer-Dagoth Westerner forces. The armies met at Red Mountain, a Dwemer stronghold. The Dwemer were defeated and terrible sorceries were used, resulting in the utter extermination of House Dwemer, House Dagoth, and their allies. Nerevar died after the battle and his ring was lost, but Nerevar's alliance survives in Morrowind's ruling political institution, the Grand Council. Who's Dumak? Dumak was a king among the Dwemer and a friend of the hero Nerevar before the war began. He served with Nerevar on the First Council and died with Nerevar at Red Mountain. Moon and Star. The enchanted ring called Moon and Star, or One Clan Under Moon and Star as the Ashlanders call it, was forged for the hero Nerevar by one of the Dwemer sorcerer priest Kagranak's smiths and blessed by the Daedra Lord Azura. The ring gave Nerevar supernatural powers of persuasion and indisputable proof of identity, since any other who tried to wear the ring would be killed instantly. Nerevarine. New play. That was an interesting bit of new info. Rules. If you steal from another Telvanni but still live, then clearly you deserve whatever you stole. Murdering your opponents by magic or treachery is the traditional way of settling disputes. If you win, then clearly your argument has more merit. You may be expelled, as in any other great house, but most Telvanni will not care or even know about it. Your journal has been updated. Services, Solstheim. Specific place. St. Dellen, St. Olms. Yes, 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 and yes. Awesome. So let's look at this. These are the rules of the Telvanni. If I steal from another Telvanni but still live, then clearly I deserve whatever I stole. Murdering my opponents by magic or treachery is the traditional way of settling disputes. If I win, then clearly my argument has more merit. I may be expelled, as in any other great house, but most Telvanni will not care or even know about it. That's awesome. Alright, let's loot this area now. If we head over here, we can check under the pillows. Always got to do that. Closet has a flame mirror robe and some extravagant clothes. Don't care. Head over here, behind all the plants. We've got some extravagant stuff, and really nothing worth caring too much about. With that, we're ready to head downstairs. Let's do the Telvanni prison cells first. I think this is going to work just like the others have, except, oh look, there are already actually some people in here, so maybe I'm just kidding about that. Let's loot the containers.
Yes, citizen.
There's an ordinator here with a couple of new books. Words and Philosophy, which we've read, and How Orsinium Passed to the Orcs, which is a new one. Which is a heavy armor skill book. Raised heavy armor to 100. Anyway, let's take that one off the book list and give it a read. And then I think it'll be about time to end this video. How Orsinium Passed to the Orcs by Menina Gsost. The year was 3E399, and standing on a mountainside overlooking a vast tract of land between the lands of Menevia and Wayrest was a great and learned judge, an arbitrator and magistrate, impartial in his submission to the law. You have a very strong claim to the land, my lad, said the judge. I won't lie to you about that. But your competition has an equal claim. This is what makes my particular profession difficult at times. You would call it my competition, sneered Lord Bowen, gesturing to the orc. The creature, called Gortwog Gro-Nagorm, looked up with baleful eyes. He has ample documentation to make a claim on the land, the magistrate shrugged. And the particular laws of our land do not discriminate between particular races. We had a Bosmer regency once, many generations ago. But what if a pig or a slaughterfish turned up demanding the property? Would they have the same legal rights as I? If they had the proper papers, I'm afraid so, smiled the judge. The law is very clear that if two claimants with equal titles to the property are set in deadlock, a duel must be held. Now, the rules are fairly archaic, but I've had opportunity to look them over, and I think they're still valid. The Imperial Council agrees. What must we do? Asked the orc, his voice low and harsh, unused to the tongue of the Cyrodiils. The first claimant, that's you, Lord Gortwog, may choose the armor and weapon of the duelists. The second claimant, that's you, Lord Bowen, may choose the location. If you would prefer, either or both of you may choose a champion, or you may duel yourself. The Breton and the orc looked at one another, evaluating. Finally, Gortwog spoke. The armor will be orcish, and the weapons will be common steel longswords. No enchantments, no wizardry allowed. The arena will be the central courtyard of my cousin Lord Berylth's palace in Wayrest, said Bowen, looking Gortwog in the eyes scornfully. None of your kind will be allowed in to visit. So it was agreed. Gortwog declared that he would fight the duel himself, and Bowen, who was a fairly young man and in better than average condition, felt that he could not keep his honor without competing himself as well. Still, upon arriving at his cousin's palace a week before the duel was scheduled, he felt the need to practice. A suit of orcish armor was purchased, and for the first time in his life, Bowen wore something of tremendous weight and limited facility. Bowen and Berylth sparred in the courtyard. In 10 minutes' time, Bowen had to stop. He was red-faced and out of breath from trying to move in the armor. To add to his exasperation, he had not scored one blow on his cousin, and had dozens of feinted strikes scored on him. I don't know what to do, said Bowen over dinner. Even if I knew someone who could fight properly in that beastly steel, I couldn't possibly send in a champion to battle Gortwog. Berylth commiserated. As the servants cleaned up the plates, Bowen stood up in his seat and pointed at one of them. You didn't tell me you had an orc in your household. Sir, whined the elderly specimen, turning to Lord Berylth, certain that he caused offense somehow. You mean old Tunner? Laughed Berylth. He's been with my house for ages. Would you like him to give you training on how to move in orcish armor? Would you like me to? Asked Tunner obsequiously. Unknown to Berylth, but known to him now, his servant had once ridden with the legendary Cursed Legion of High Rock. He not only knew how to fight in orcish armor himself, but he had acted as trainer to other orcs before retiring into domestic service. Desperate, Bowen immediately engaged him as his full-time trainer. You try too hard, sir, said the orc on their first day in the arena. It is easy to strain yourself in heavy mail. The joints are just so to let you to bend with only a little effort. If you fight against the joints, you won't have any strength to fight your foe. Bowen tried to follow Tunner's instructions, but he quickly grew frustrated, and the more frustrated he got, the more intensity he put into his work, which tired him out even quicker. While he took a break to drink some water, Beryl spoke to his servant. If they were optimistic about Bowen's chances, their faces did not show it. Tunner trained Bowen hard the next 2 days, but her ladyship Elisora's birthday followed hard upon them, and Bowen enjoyed the feast thoroughly. A liquor of poppies and goose fat, and cock tinch with buttered hyssop for a first course, roasted pike, comb-wort, and balls of rabbit meat for a second, sliced fox tongues, ballam pudding with oyster gravy, Battaglia weed, and beans for the main course, Collequeva ice, and sugar fritters for dessert. As Bowen was settling back afterwards, his eyes weary, he suddenly spied Gortwog and the judge entering the room. "What are you doing here?" he cried. "The duel's not for another 2 days." "Lord Gortwog asked that we move it to tonight," said the judge. "You were training when my emissary arrived 2 days ago, but his lordship your cousin spoke for you, agreeing to the change of date." "But there's no time to assemble my supporters," complained Bowen, "and I've just devoured a feast that would kill a lesser man. Cousin, how could you neglect to tell me?" "I spoke to Tunner about it," said Beryl, blushing, unused to deception. "We decided that you would be best served under these conditions." The battle in the arena was sparsely attended. Saturated with food, Bowen found himself unable to move very quickly. To his surprise, the armor responded to his lethargy, rotating smoothly and elegantly to each stagger. The more he successfully maneuvered, the more he allowed his mind and not his body to control his defensive and offensive actions. For the first time in his life, Bowen saw what it was to look through the helmet of an orc. Of course he lost, and rather badly if scores had been tabulated. Gortwog was a master of such battle, but Bowen fought on for more than 3 hours before the judge reluctantly called a winner. "I will name the land Orsinium after the land of my fathers," said the victor. Bowen's first thought was that if he must lose to an orc, it was best that the battle was largely unwatched by his friends and family. As he left the courtyard to go to the bed he had longed for earlier in the evening, he saw Gortwog speaking to Tunner. Though he did not understand the language, he could see that they knew each other. When the Breton was in bed, he had a servant bring the old orc to him. "Tunner," he said kindly, "speak frankly to me. You wanted Lord Gortwog to win." "That is true," said Tunner, "but I did not fail you. You fought better than you would have 2 days hence, sir. I did not want Orsinium to be won by its king without a fight." With that, we can head into here and start unlocking these doors. We've got 1, 2, with Femmer Verilor to chat with. Got nothing to say. That's fine. All he's got is Solstheim. Okay. Well, that was 2 cell doors. See how many others we got. That one's unlocked already. That's 3. 4. 5. 6. And security to 48. 7. That's awesome. Alright. Here's the Telvanni vault. Alright. And we've been going about an hour, so here at the threshold of the Telvanni vault, I'm going to end this particular episode. This has been Let's Play Morrowind. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my videos, please consider clicking an ad, liking, sharing, or subscribing, any or all of which will really help me out. But regardless, please know that I really do appreciate the time you spend watching. Next time, we'll tackle the Telvanni Vault and then continue working our way through the Canton. I hope you have a fantastic day. It's election day here in the United States. I think no matter who you support, we can all agree that we're happy it's about to be over. Next video, I think it actually will be over, for better or for worse. See y'all then. Bye-bye.